There are few M&A deals as high profile or as complex as the acquisition of Warner Brothers. There's regulatory issues, a potential hostile takeover, and at the centre of it all, some very overworked bankers. Without an immediate resolution in sight, the danger is the bankers on both sides will continue their intense pace, and for one group, it'll all be for nothing. Find out why on the Coffee Run. First, what exactly is happening with Warner Brothers? At the start of the month, Netflix announced it was acquiring Warner Brothers for $82.7 billion. This came as a surprise given that Netflix had talked down its interest in acquiring Warner Brothers in the past, and it comes with complications. Netflix has 302 million global subscribers, while Warner Brothers has 128 million for multiple streaming services including HBO Max and Discovery+. If those subscribers are swallowed into Netflix, critics argue it would give the company a monopolistic share of the streaming market. Culturally, too, Netflix's business model does not lend itself well to theatrical releases. If it acquires WB, the merger could be the final nail in the coffin of the faltering cinema industry. And along comes Paramount. Paramount has made no secret of its interest in acquiring Warner Brothers. Between September and October, it made multiple bids for the studio, offering as high as $23.50 per share. That was rejected, and then superseded by Netflix's bid of $27.75 per share. Paramount has 79 million subscribers for its own streaming services, so it would face fewer streaming monopoly claims. It's now bidding for WB at a higher price than Netflix, $30 a share, or a valuation of $108 billion. Paramount has close ties to the Trump administration though, and is looking to acquire news outlet CNN as part of the deal. Most of the money funding Paramount's bid, however, is coming from the Middle East. It may also face some monopoly allegations in the sense that two of the biggest movie studios would be combining, rather than the biggest streaming services. Regulatory approval will be required for the deal. Trump clearly prefers Paramount, but a detailed regulatory review could take a whole year. In the meantime, it's about who has the better pitch to investors, and that's where the bankers come in. Netflix has enlisted boutique bank Moelis Co, as well as Wells Fargo, which has been ramping up M&A activity over the past year since regulators lifted a cap on its assets. Reuters reported that the advisors on Netflix's side worked on the deal every day in October and November. They worked throughout the Thanksgiving week, including multiple calls on the day itself, which they're usually meant to have off. Netflix was pitching against other companies like Comcast ahead of a December 1st deadline, which meant the bankers were working to what the FT called an extraordinarily compressed timetable. Upon learning that they'd won the deal, there was supposedly clapping and cheering from the bankers on a group call. Even though it wasn't certain the deal would go through from there, the hardest work looked to be over, until the Paramount takeover made things a whole lot hairier. Which banks do the other companies have in their corner? Paramount has enlisted two boutiques, Centerview Partners and Redbird Advisors. Warner Bros. Itself is working with three banks, JP Morgan, Evercore and Allen & Co. So what happens now? Long story short, no clue. If regulators decide only one company can buy WB, it makes things a lot easier for the other company. But in Paramount's case, the shareholders will still need to be convinced. If they're both approved, the banks will go head to head with each other to convince shareholders. If neither are approved, tears will probably be shed. It's likely there won't be a clear winner, if there is one, for a while. But if things change, then the bankers who lost Thanksgiving to this deal will have an exorbitantly busy Christmas period too. The Christmas period is a particularly strange time to work in a bank, as it's just around the time that bonuses are announced across almost the entirety of banking. To get the best bonuses, bankers need to show their potential value for the next year, and not just the value they've already added. This can be particularly tricky between Christmas and New Year's when clients are reluctant to take meetings. The teams working on the WB acquisition, therefore, might feel somewhat lucky that this super important deal they're working on will likely roll on to well after bonuses have been announced. It gives the bank an incentive to pay them well, as it'll motivate them to work harder on the deal. For the bankers that will ultimately lose the deal, they will have secured their bonus before their big moment of embarrassment. On top of this, December is a particularly bad time for job cuts. Bonuses play a role in this, as banks will look to cut certain people before they have to pay them a bonus. This can be a preemptive measure, of course, because the bankers themselves will often look to hop to a new job the moment their bonuses are secure. Cutting them also means that the share of the bonus pool for its remaining bankers goes up. Working on such an important deal like WB means that you're likely to be too valuable for your bank to lose. On the flip side, working this hard throughout Christmas might be terrible for them, as January is a notoriously difficult time to work. Those current and potential clients who took the time off at Christmas come back to work and look to accelerate deals or hear pitches for new ones. An associate at a top US bank way back in 2016 said that because of this, it's a time of the year that bankers really need to take off. The busy January period rolls on throughout February and doesn't lighten up until sometime in March at the earliest. Beyond work-life balance, if such a thing exists in banking, the stricter demands for office attendance across banks today means that some of these bankers may be unable to go home and see their families at Christmas. You can only hope that won't be the case. Thank you for watching The Coffee Run. If you want to receive daily news updates on stories like these, click the link below to subscribe to Morning Coffee, our newsletter that breaks down the biggest stories in banking and financial services from Monday to Friday every week. Next Friday, we'll be back taking a look at one of those stories in more detail and letting you know other important stories you might have missed. If you want to see more of The Coffee Run, like this video and subscribe to the channel.